How's everybody doing? You guys are piling in. It's been a while since we've met. Hey, D, what's going on? We got a lot to discuss today, guys. First off, I hope everybody's been having a great past 2 weeks, I think. It's been a lot going on my end. I just came back from Fashion Week in New York. I got to check out a few shows. It was absolutely fantastic. It's my first time ever doing that and doing some things on my record. But we got a lot to discuss. So today, Captain Crunch fired. National Security Agency Director John Bolton. That's just the first thing. National Security Advisor John Bolton. I'm sorry, I said agency. But here's the thing, and I'm going to wait for a few folks to get in, because I'm not going to lie to you, so many things happen in this administration. I don't per se tune out, but I tune out, if that makes sense. And I know some of you guys have expressed that to me as well online and our chats and things like that. But it's always important to keep an ear. It's been so much going on, quite frankly, I have to filter things. So I try to make sure that I only talk about major developments or developments I feel like are important that fall between the cracks. But this is interesting. Now, this is the first firing, because I had to do some research, bitch. I had to research it. This is the first firing where I'm not mad. Like, y'all already know how I feel about Captain Crunch, but in this case, when I look at John Bolton's record, when I look at his record and what he stands for, this motherfucker was kind of crazy. And, you know, the president already cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He crazy, but it's two crazy people not getting along. And there's no shade to people with mental illness. I'm not talking about mental illness. I'm talking about y'all crazy. Okay? But when I looked at his record, I'm not necessarily mad at this firing. I know Mike Pompeo didn't really care for John Bolton. But as the story goes, allegedly, Donald Trump says that according to the tweets, like, because this is how we get our news from official White House news. We get it from Twitter. I think they personally keeping Twitter in business. But anyway, you know, Trump, you know, fired him or whatever, and, you know, they talked about it or whatever, he had it in his record, whatever you want to say. But John Bolton goes online and he's saying via Twitter, because everything is through Twitter, he's saying he talked to the president last night and they said that they would talk about it today, and he woke up this morning and he was fired. Now that part, I can believe, bitch. I can believe it. Okay? I can believe it. Can you guys hear me? Okay, great. You can hear me. I can believe it. Only because we have to go by track record at this point, and history says that that's some shit that you would do. So I'm inclined to believe that, but that's not even the important thing. How he got fired, when he got fired, we really don't give a shit. The motherfucker got fired. Now the thing is, according to this, and I pulled some news. According to this, they had a difference of agreement as to how foreign policy would be handled, which, as we know right now for this administration, foreign policy and just foreign interaction with both allies and adversaries is just in the fucking toilet, no matter how you slice it, for this, in regards to how things are done. So Trump, for those of you who missed this headline, because this kind of slid in and out of the news, this motherfucker wanted to invite the Taliban to Camp David to discuss a peace treaty. Now, I'm all about, let me get this clear, okay? I'm all about trying to find common ground and work with folks and get it together. You can sign a peace treaty. You can go in and do whatever it is negotiating you want to do. Last time I checked, the United States doesn't negotiate with terrorists, but hey. Because the last time I checked, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think the Taliban is like an official country or government organization. Like you're bringing the Taliban to Camp David. Neither here nor there. If you want to negotiate some kind of agreement or treaty, you don't have to bring them on United States soil to Camp fucking David. Okay? That's all I'm saying. So John Bolton was against that. I'm not mad at that. Okay? I'm not mad at that. That makes sense. Yes, motherfucker, do not bring the Taliban to Camp David. Number one, I live in Baltimore City, for those of you who don't already know. But Baltimore is not that damn far from D.C. There's only 40 goddamn minutes. Okay? When D.C. go or some shit go down, we ain't that damn far. So I'm like, you everybody where the fuck they at. Okay? That's just me. I'm just saying. So he disagreed with them on that. He also disagreed with his policies with North Korea, of course, Russia, and things of that nature. Basically, John Bolton has a history of wanting to engage in wars. And one thing I will say is this. Donald Trump talks a big game, but I don't think he really about that war life. Because this motherfucker, the way he deal with Russia, the way he deal with, a lot of these governments, he talk a lot of shit, like all that shit he talked to Kim Jong-un. He talk all that shit, but I don't really think he really trying to get in those waters. And this particular gentleman, Mr. Bolton, has a history of wanting to engage. So it's like one of them things where one of y'all got to go. It ain't going to be the president, so it's going to be your ass. Okay? So, according to this, from what the news reports are saying, Bolton has served in previous Republican administrations. His ultra hawkish views, according to the Washington Post, he had a habit of bureaucratic infighting in Washington, and Trump hired him anyway. But here's the thing. He had hired him because, according to the reports, he liked the way he sounded and looked on television. Which we can't believe. This shit doesn't even seem far-fetched. It actually, as soon as I read that, y'all, I was like, I can believe this shit. I can believe he really hired this man because he liked the way he looked on TV. That's not even far-fetched. That's realistic, okay? And this administration. You know what I'm saying? So that was why that's how you got hired, bitch. As long as you passed the personality test, back in the day, the personality test, Hollywood video, yeah, bitch. You don't have to have the same ideals, which sometimes you want people that are going to challenge your thinking, but not to this capacity, not when it comes to national security advisor. That's not who you want to get, okay? A lot of things that he did as far as that, a lot of people inside the administration, from what I'm reading, didn't really like Bolton. He helped in an agreement with the Afghan Taliban, which we all know, which I wasn't necessarily mad at that, but they had negotiated an agreement with the State Department over the course of a year. So they had been negotiating this Taliban agreement for about a year. Now, it was, to me, here's the thing, and I'm going to get deep, and this is where they might be 613 my ass. Just remember this video and make sure that they send the body to my mama. We were taught in America, especially as we're coming up on September 11th, tomorrow, which will be the, 18th or 19th anniversary, 18th anniversary of September 11th, right? We were taught that the Taliban were these terrible people who killed thousands of people, which they definitely were on a plane. It's no discounting that. But we would, because of what they've done, why would we go go and have this agreement with a terrorist organization, and this is just my personal opinion, this is not fact, this is just me thinking this through as I'm reading this. Even though it was 18 years ago, why would we not only have this kind of agreement, but my thing is, okay, have the agreement and work that out, but then invite them on American soil to Camp David? Where did they do that? And for those of you who don't know, I was just in New York. I went to the 9/11 memorial. It's one of the most, I didn't realize how much of an effect it had on me as just a regular U.S. citizen. I didn't even live in New York when it happened, but it's very sad. If you ever get to check it out for history, but it's one of the saddest fucking places you ever want to go. But, well, that's a question that I have in regards to that, because like I said, we're taught that, okay, Taliban, these terrible terrorists, they did it. Why are we, like, that doesn't make sense to me. So I'm questioning that. Okay? I'm questioning that. Also, too, he caused the president, talked the president into setting aside the states' work on a possible interim deal with North Korea on its nuclear program, and instead demand that dictator Kim Jong-un immediately commit to giving up all weapons of mass destruction. That helped to precipitate the collapse of the Trump-Kim summit in Hanoi and has led to a prolonged lapse in negotiations during which North Korea has been testing new missiles. Now, here's my goddamn thing with that, okay? And here's why I'm not mad at this firing. Once I researched it, because I didn't know everything about this man. I didn't know everything, so I had to research. Here's my thing. Stop acting like North Korea going to just come to the table and they just going to say, here y'all missiles. Y'all got nuclear missiles. Britain got nuclear missiles. Everybody got nuclear missiles, but we're going to give y'all ours. So we don't have no leverage. And we just going to give them to y'all. What person in their right mind, if I was in North Korea, I would just give y'all my goddamn nukes and just give them up? Who does that? Like, that's just stupid. Now, Kim Jong-un do some fucked up shit, according to reports and everything. Like, I'm not defending him, but logically, hey, you, give me your missiles. But we demand all your missiles. Like, what the fuck? Okay, why would I do? So that in itself, Bolton, this is what Bolton was trying to do. That's not even realistic. So I would have ignored your ass and discounted that too, my goddamn self, if I was the president. So far, Bolton's kind of helping Trump's optics. Okay? So this firing, from what I've seen here, it is kind of like warranted. And like I said, I'm not necessarily mad at it. The National Security Advisor's principal responsibility has been to oversee a disciplined policy-making process that includes the State Department, the Pentagon, and intelligence agencies, and to help with big decisions for the president. So basically say, this is what we need to be working on, this is what should be your focus. Bolton didn't do that. He basically undermined, plans and initiatives for the North Korea talks, the Afghan negotiations, and he was going after different causes of his own. He attempted to do a coup against the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, which that didn't work. So he has a history of being, like, dysfunctional and a warmonger. And really, as I read this, not really somebody that we should have had in that position. But this is your president's fault, and here's why. Because had he did proper vetting, had he listened to some of the people that maybe have sense in this administration, he would have fucking known that. And instead, we wouldn't be looking at this like, oh, he fired. Because I'm not going to lie to you. As soon as I saw on the headline, President fires National Security Advisor, I'm like, damn, that's fucked up. Why he do that? Then when I asked, this is why we read and research. This is why I try to do Secretary of State. No, it's not all factual. As far as 100%, some of it, I have to go back and research again. But I try to bring reality and read this shit. But I had to read to be like, oh, okay, Trump, you should have fired him. But because Donald do so much fucked up shit that's bad, I was automatically inclined to say, oh my God, he fired that man over Twitter. No, this was the person that should have got fired. Okay? He should have got fired. Like this firing, Trump, even though you did it terribly, but this is to be expected from you. Long story short, his ass should have got fired and he should have been fired, realistically. So that's that. Now, moving on. Now, I'm learning, y'all know I love Anderson Cooper. Y'all know I love Chris Cuomo. Y'all know I love Don Lemon. I really don't make a secret of that. But sometimes with CNN, you gotta kind of, they are, to me, I feel like they are credible, but sometimes they're very Fox News in this way. They do put personal opinion. Nobody Peter Jennings the news anymore. There's no more Walter Cronkite's or, even Brian Williams. When I say this to say, nobody just reports the news strictly facts without personal influence or feelings involved. Every newscast is doing that now. That's just the age we live in. So I kind of like, when I read stuff on CNN, I'm like, damn, because I know they ain't going to spit no outright lies, but it's like you got to kind of be like, okay, so let me dig into this. So, allegedly, CNN got the scoop, bitch, okay? That a U.S.-Russian spy had to be extracted from Russia back in 2017 because basically the CIA was scared to death that Trump was going to expose the operative, which we can believe. I mean, let's not forget the meeting that he had with Vladimir Putin where he took the Russian interpreter's notes and notebook. Okay? Let's not forget the meeting he's had with, Sergei Kislyak and Sergei Lavrov. Google them if you don't know. So that's not far-fetched. But according to, and I researched this because sometimes with international news about the U.S., I like to read foreign news, like the BBC, the Al Jazeera, just different foreign news outlets to see what the rest of the world, how they're viewing this. Because I know how our news views things, and I know how they report them. But I want to see how's the world viewing this shit, okay? And according to some reports, they had already had plans to get this particular spy out because the media had already started digging, and this was, I think this was probably immediately during the election, so this was probably around 15, 16. They had already started digging and research, of course, with the election hacks and things like that. So they were already kind of nervous that he was going to be, the spy was going to be exposed. So allegedly, this particular spy had been working for the U.S. for like a decade plus. Like he was in the trenches. He was so deep in the trenches, allegedly, that he was like super close with Vladimir. He had access to his papers. He was getting a lot of top secret information. Like he was like on some James Bond shit. Like this was like some top tier shit. Okay. Now the report that CNN said was that the CIA was scared that Trump was going to expose some shit, which I do think that's part of it. I do think the shit about the media and all that's probably like 10%. I do think that they were scared, they didn't know what Trump was going to do is a big portion of it in regards to that, because you just don't know where he stands. Now, of course, the CIA said that the report that CNN put out was misguided and simply false. So the CIA flat out, they're like, bitch, y'all lying. But here's the thing. The CIA is, of course, going to say that they lying, because it's hot right now. Also, too, just because a spy has been extracted from Russia do not mean the Russians not going to come after that spy. Because bitches do mysteriously die of cancer when they get extracted from Russia and they was doing some shit. Okay? I'm just saying. Okay? So that's not far-fetched. I understand them now. According to reports, because I notice now whenever people don't want to cite their sources or the sources are sketchy, and the news is always according to reports or multiple sources. Now, according to reports, the alleged spy is living in D.C., bitch. Now, maybe his ass is probably living in Montana or Wyoming or some shit, and they just said D.C., but according to the reports, he's living in D.C. Okay. Now, the CIA said that it basically ain't happened. The Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, who I just was talking about, who didn't fuck with John Bolton anyway, he said that the report was materially inaccurate. Now, the CIA said it was simply false. Pompeo said it's materially inaccurate. So the CIA, they jumped off the bridge. They like, fuck it, they lying. Pompeo like, it's some discrepancies in this shit. That's basically what he's saying. Now, when they released the report on Monday, they said that multiple Trump administration officials with direct knowledge of the extraction gave them some of the information. Okay, now he had like I said, he had regular access to Putin, and also two allegedly said agent was instrumental in the conclusion by U.S. intelligence agencies, in 2016, that Putin had personally orchestrated the Russia election interference. So that's allegedly, okay. And also, too, CNN quoted saying that several sources who served under Trump saying that the president had repeatedly expressed his opposition to using overseas spies because it damaged relations with other nations. That's just being fucking naive. There are spies from other countries in the United States right now. Fuck it. We probably work with one or two of them. You probably go to work every day thinking this bitch just tired because she got 5 kids. Whole time, she up at night, speaking a whole nother motherfucking language, calling the goddamn country, putting all the secrets out. You never know. So to say that he's against using spies from other countries or overseas spies, that's just stupid and naive, and quite frankly, as a president, that's just terrible. It's just not realistic. Okay? So, according to that, allegedly Russia said, this is what Russia said. Russia saying that basically they knew who it was. It was some guy by the name of Oleg Smolenkov. He said that they said that he had went on vacation or holiday. You know, foreign country, they call it holiday, but we call it Christmas vacation. He went on a holiday with his family to Montenegro in 2017 and disappeared. Before a man with the same name and a woman with the same name as Mr. Smolenkov's wife purchased a house in the U.S. state of Virginia near Washington, D.C. Law enforcement sources told Commissar that Moscow had investigated whether Mr. Smolenkov had been killed in Montenegro, but concluded he was now living abroad. Without naming the alleged agent at the request of U.S. officials, NBC News said one of its reporters had visited the Virginia home on Monday and found the man was living openly under his true name. The reporter was tracked by 2 men in an SUV when he rang the doorbell, NBC said. Russian reports said Mr. Smolenkov had worked for Yuri Ushakov, a senior foreign policy aide to President Putin and a former Russian ambassador to the U.S. Mr. Smolenkov was with Mr. Ushakov in the U.S. for a number of years until the latter was recalled in 2008. A former colleague told RIA Novosti that Mr. Smolenkov handled administrative affairs such as purchases for the embassy. So basically what they're trying to say is, bitch, he really wasn't doing shit. We know who he is. NBC pulled up on his house after getting tracked. The man might be dead by now. We don't have no fucking clue. Okay? But it's definitely some crazy shit going on. But here's my thing. Why do we know all of this? I'm all about being transparent with the government and with the citizens and letting us know what's going on. But some shit, and I know some people watching this video is going to disagree, some shit we don't need to know. I didn't need to know this man was living in Virginia, near D.C. I didn't need to know that. NBC, why you pull up to his house? Number one, if I was that reporter for NBC, kudos to you, because I ain't going to no spot in Russia looking for a bitch, because they might liable to kill your ass. You go to work one day, get something out the Keurig machine, whole time they done planted somebody in the office, bitch. You thinking you drinking Starbucks with 2 fucking scoops of coffee, make bitch, whole time it's cyanide, and you drop dead in the newsroom. I wouldn't even be going there. But this is what they do. This is what they did. So, allegedly, it's really hard to get a mole extracted once they've been found out. So they said it was really hard to get this man out. But long story short, I do believe that they did extract someone. I am kind of nervous for this person's life because it was a British, and I gotta research this, it was a British agent or something like that. Or it's one of these spies where they had mysteriously died because Vladimir got his ass. You got to be careful with Vladimir ass because he gonna get you. He about that life, he about that action, he gonna get you, bitch. So I hope that whoever this man is, Smolenkov, Molioff, whatever, I hope that he got a plan of action, bitch, because the heat is on. Now, last story of the day, FEMA. Now, I thought when I read this, and this is breaking news to a certain degree, this is some fucked up shit. This is some fucked up shit. Now, we all know the devastation that Hurricane Maria brought on Puerto Rico. Terrible things. We all know what that did. It basically destroyed their electrical grid and electrical system, and they needed a lot of help. Okay, the president talked about these people, their government is irresponsible, as if it's not a U.S. territory. It was just a lot of things. And this, what did somebody say? Transparency shouldn't be at the expense of safety. Right, exactly, bitch. You said it. That's the word. Who was that? Keita said transparency shouldn't be at the expense of safety. You right about that. Now, today, they locked up, and this is a doctor. It always be the smart people. They think they're so smart in their asses. This is the era of all the smart people getting caught, bitch. If you think you're going to outsmart people, they looking for your asses first, okay? Now, Dr. Asha Tribble, okay, a former administrator of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, was arrested Tuesday for taking bribes from the president of a company that landed $1.8 billion, I'm going to say it like how Trump said it, billion in federal contracts to repair Puerto Rico's electrical grid after Hurricane Maria devastated the island in September 2017. Federal authorities arrested Asha Tribble, FEMA's former deputy administrator for the region that includes Puerto Rico. Donald Keith Ellison, the former president of Cobra Acquisitions, was also arrested. FEMA said the agency takes allegations of employee misconduct extremely seriously and added that they are fully cooperating with federal investigators in the statement. So, I'm going to set the scene for you. So basically what happened, right? Puerto Rico, we already established that their electrical grid is fucked up. Maria came through and just showed her ass. So they had to rebuild the electrical infrastructure for Puerto Rico. Well, somebody's got to do that shit and somebody's got to get paid to do it. So basically, this bitch, Dr. Tribble, okay, allegedly, and I'm going to read some of this shit. Basically, it looked from how they are weaving this web in the news. Dr. Tribble and this Ellison fellow, that's the president of Cobra, they was fucking, okay? I don't know no other way to put it to you, they was fucking, okay? And part of the deal was basically like, all right, you got the contract. I'm going to send everything to you. Meanwhile, he taking this bitch on trips. They using a card. They flying on flights. They putting it in emails. People still ain't learned about these goddamn emails. All kinds of shit. And they tried to hide it by putting it on his credit card and shit. So basically, he was flying her out, buying her dinners and furs and shit. You know, all the luxury shit. Okay. In exchange, she was supposed to give him all of the contracts. So they already got the $1.8 billion contract. But she was basically cock blocking. She was stopping other companies who could do the work for cheaper in Puerto Rico. She would stop and block them from being able to do the work. She wouldn't accept their contracts. And there were certain people, I'm indigenous, there were certain companies that were like, hey, we can get this done for less than this or a fraction of the price or half or what have you. She like, fuck that, we going to Cobra. So that's fraud, bitch. That's defrauding the United States government. Okay? So I'm going to read some of this. They were accused of conspiracy to commit bribery of public officials, acts affecting a personal financial interest, false statements, disaster fraud, honest services wire fraud, travel act violations, and wire fraud, according to a statement from the Department of Justice. Ms. Tribble and Mr. Ellison had a close relationship from October 2017 to April 2019, and Mr. Ellison gave Ms. Tribble gifts that range from a personal helicopter, bitch. Personal helicopter, hotel accommodations, and personal security services, according to the Department of Justice statements. So basically, he was flying his cooch out, wearing it out in the hotel, and didn't get security to protect his cooch. Okay. That's a lot. So let's take this all in. So people do fraud every day. That's what it happens. But it's a different story. Number one. Here's my thing. You didn't think that it was going to be eyes on you after, number one, the president is slamming this country already, don't want to spend the money to help Puerto Rico, this territory. He already trying to get out of it. You think they wasn't going to be counting the pennies, sis? You really think that they wasn't going to be counting the pennies? And you a woman of color, bitch. You thought that they wasn't going to be looking at your ass? Okay? You really thought that they wasn't going to be looking at you? You know how it go. Whether you got a doctor in front of your name or not, bitch, you a woman of color working this closely with a job this big, and you thought that they wasn't going to be watching you, sis? And then you doing it for helicopter rides, hotels. That's low-tier whole shit. That's how I know you was a doctor. Because any experienced hot girl would at least got some funding. I didn't read nowhere in there where you got some actual goddamn money. From what I'm seeing here, he was just flying your ass out to bang you, taking your ass out. This is high level, low level, ball-headed hoe shit. Okay? Just on a bigger scale. Because there wasn't no funds getting put in your account from what I'm seeing here. He was getting the goddamn money. All he doing is flying you out on a helicopter, taking you to the beach, putting you up in a hotel, wearing your ass out, and then giving you a meal afterwards. And you a doctor. I'm confused, sis. Help me understand. You done put your whole career, your license, your reputation on the line for a motherfucker that got probably more money than God and was being greedy and wanted more money, while these people are on this island with no power, dying from lack of medications. trying to put their lives back together. You got other companies coming in saying, we can get this done. We can get it done faster. We can get it done cheaper. We can make this work. And you're basically telling them no. And I want to keep it 100 with y'all. This happens all the time. Now, she just did this shit on a grander scale, but it happens from the lowest levels. The lowest levels. This is a part of business. And for those of you who don't know, it happens way more than you think. It's actually kind of standard practice, low-key. That's kind of the same shit that Catherine Pugh did with them Healthy Holly books. She just tried to cover it up by selling actual materials and shit, but it's pretty much the same thing. Okay? But I think it's sad, and we need to look at these things and really figure out, you know, who we're putting in these positions. And, you know, sometimes you never know what a person is going to do, you know, when they're put in a position. Hell, I meet a motherfucker that got a $1.8 billion contract. Shit, I might do something strange for a piece of change too, sis. So I can't say what I would do. None of us can say what we would do. The only thing that we can say is, damn, that's fucked up. But these are, we put so much faith, and I want to speak on this a little bit. I'm not going to keep you long because I want to watch Wu-Tang on Hulu because I haven't been able to see it yet. But we put so much faith in people. Even with Secretary of Shade, I had people like, oh, when I posted an article about, you know, people that work with Clinton and how they died or whatever, you know, it was from an actual news site. And they were like, we were so disappointed in you. And why? Number one, you should always be disappointed in yourself for not doing your due diligence. There's a saying, proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. And you shouldn't be disappointed in nobody but yourself for not doing the work that you're supposed to do. And that's a general theme for tonight. Because had Trump did his homework and not hired somebody because he liked the way that they looked on television, he would have known that maybe Bolton wasn't the right guy for National Security Advisor. Okay? Had this lady sat down and really thought about what she was doing, maybe this wasn't the way to go. This is her fault. She did this to herself. And she fucked around a lot of, both of them together. Because I'm not going to just hold her responsible. I'm going to hold him responsible as well. Because you're a big ass corporation and you're being greedy. And you're taking advantage of people in distress. And that's terrible. That's cold-blooded. So we always, I feel like as people, we always need to have our own personal accountability and always look into what it is that we're doing and where we want to go with things. Because ultimately, you want to be able to say, I did the best that I could do. We're in a time where people want to blame everybody else and not take a look inside their own house and say, how can I clean this up? What part do I have to play in this? And that's all I'm saying about that. I'm not coming to preach to you because, right, quite frankly, bitch, I'm hungry. My shows is on. I have a bajillion things to do. That's our report for tonight. I'm going to try to get back with you guys. I'm actually going to the New York world premiere of Downton Abbey on Monday in New York City. I got invited. I'm excited about that. So for those of you who don't know, I love that show. And they invited me to come to the premiere, so I'll be going to that. We shot the video for Pull Up. That's going to be coming out pretty soon, guys. So just be on the lookout. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at GODDM. If you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to click the bell at the top. I'm growing at the top for notifications for Secretary of Shade. I look forward to talking to you guys soon. Peace and love and all of that. Ciao, Bella. Ooh, bitch. That chain up. Oh, okay.